ಮೊದಲು ನಮಿಸುವೆ ಗಣನಾಥ ಎನ್ನ ಹೃದಯದಿ ನೆಲೆಸು ಗಣನಾಥ. ಸಿದ್ಧಿ ವಿನಾಯಕ ಸದ್ಗುಣ ವರಣ ಅದ್ಭುತ ಮಹಿಮಾ ಹೇ ಗಜವದನ. ಸಿದ್ಧಿ ವಿನಾಯಕ ಸದ್ಗುಣ ವರಣ ಅದ್ಭುತ ಮಹಿಮಾ ಹೇ ಗಜವದನ. ಶ್ರೀ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ನಂದಚಿತ ಚರಣ, ಶ್ರೀ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ನಂದಚಿತ ಚರಣ. ಏಕದಂತ ಲೋಕ ಶೋಕ ವಿನಾಶನ, ಏಕದಂತ ಲೋಕ ಶೋಕ ವಿನಾಶನ. ಮೊದಲು ನಮಿಸುವೆ ಗಣನಾಥ ಎನ್ನ ಹೃದಯದಿ ನೆಲೆಸು ಗಣನಾಥ ಎನ್ನ ಹೃದಯದಿ ನೆಲೆಸು ಗಣನಾಥ ಎನ್ನ ಹೃದಯದಿ ನೆಲೆಸು ಗಣನಾಥ ಗಣನಾಥ ಗಣನಾಥ.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು ಮ್ಯಾಮ್. ಸಾಕ ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮುಂದೆ ಬಂದು ಕೂತ್ಕೋಬೋದಾ? ಸೊ ಇನ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಲೇಟರ್ ಬಂದ ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸೆಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಅಕಾಮಡೇಟ್. ಸೊ ಡಿಸ್ಟರ್ಬೆನ್ಸ್ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಸ್ಪೀಕರ್ಸ್ಗೆ. One of the things in the NCF that we were discussing about is how to take this ಒಂದು ತರಹದ ಯೋಚನೆ ಇದೆ. ಮುಂದ್ಗಡೆ ಇರೋರೆಲ್ಲ ಬುದ್ಧಿವಂತರು, ಹಿಂದ್ಗಡೆ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಬೆಂಚರ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ದಡ್ಡರು ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಬ್ರೋಕನ್ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಬಟ್ ಸ್ಟಿಲ್ ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ಆಸ್ಕ್ ಯು ಟು ಕಮ್ ಟು ದ ಫ್ರಂಟ್ ಬೆಂಚ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಬಿಕಮ್ ಇಂಟೆಲಿಜೆಂಟ್. ಸೊ with this on the lighter note, so welcome to all of you who are the stakeholders of the education learning of the children at the middle stage level now. So middle stage has been identified as standard 6th, 7th and 8th standard, and your children are in this age group. So how is the learning going to happen in the next 3 years, and then how it has happened in the previous stage, or how will it happen if you have a sibling or the child has a sibling, and how it will go into the higher education. So all this will be briefly touched upon in the discussion on NCF at the middle stage. So now I invite Gajanan ji to take over the podium.
Hari Om. Namaste to all. We are here morning ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆಯಿಂದ ಈ ಹಾಲಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು NCF ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆಷನ್ ಹಾಲ್ ವಾಸ್ ಓವರ್ಫ್ಲೋಯಿಂಗ್, pre-primary level, and all of you have gone through these phases. I am sure your visits to school when your children were in pre-KG, first standard, second standard, were a lot more, right? The second session for class 3 to 5 was almost full. So now we have some parents here. The next session is secondary stage. So I'm sure maybe only few of us will be discussing. But this is not special to this group. I mean, all over, generally. Children grow up to this age and we are quite comfortable because they are now settled in the school and they are doing good. And if they are in Purna Pramati, you are even more relaxed. You don't have to worry about them. And also I think time, 1 o'clock was a little bit of challenge for some of you. Possible. All of you, ಊಟ ಆಗಿದೆ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ? ಇಲ್ಲ? ಹೌದು. ಎಲ್ಲರದು ಆಗಿದೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಉಪವಾಸ. So this is a special session organized by Purna Pramati. Normally, these type of sessions are not organized everywhere in every school. I'm sure in Purna Pramati you organize different types of orientation programs. You are working closely with the school. This session is about NCF. All of you have heard about NCF National Curriculum Framework. Kelidira? Generally, what is curriculum framework? First time? Curiosity ಇದೆ ಅಥವಾ ಕಲಿತಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಸೊ ಹೋಗಬೇಕು ಆ ಥರ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀರಾ? We'll have this session more interactive. Because afternoon sessions are generally difficult. And if it is an informative session, it will just be difficult. So we'll have more interactive. I'll ask generally some lighter questions, some difficult questions also. Similarly, you can also ask questions. Wherever you feel, we'll have question answers in between. You don't have to maybe wait for whole thing and then answer. Have you heard about National Education Policy? NEP 2020. So in July 2020, that policy was cabinet has approved and it was published. Kelidira? Nodidira NEP 2020 document nodidira? Nodidira. So website alli available ide. So just look at it. NEP 2020 means it was released in 2020. So similarly, there were 2 previous policies of our country. One was in 1986. And then before that was 1968. Okay, 68 was the first policy. It was also called Kothari Commission. So that was first policy which spoke about free language, national integration, lot of things were there in the 68 policy. 86 policy was about inclusion, tribal education and lot of those things came in the 86 policy. Now 86 to 2020, 34 years. So there was no policy as such, but there were some small changes. RTI came in between. You know about RTI, no? Right to Education Act was there. It was not a policy, it was an act. So RTI came, it had some provisions of changes in education. And now this 2020 policy with lot of hype in a way because most of us have heard about it. So there was a lot of noise about some policies coming. It has not reached everyone in the form of what transformation the policy is bringing. Typically, even in people in education, they are not so much involved in the policy or curriculum. Even teachers, teacher community, educators, they were not involved. Only top level educationists, scholars, they were involved in creating and then further writing syllabus, textbooks. After that, what used to come is only textbook. And you know our system is very textbook central. Now, what it means is you put anything in textbook, teachers will teach. We have 16 lakh schools in our country and more than 1 crore teachers. So we can't have Purna Pramati type of setup everywhere. This is special setup, right? Where the passion of teachers or passion of the whole system here is much different than how it runs in large scale throughout the country. But when we do policy, NCF, this is for all types of schools in the country. So 16 lakh schools. Now textbook centrality is, you have seen textbooks of your children? All of you have seen? How many times you look at this lesson is taught or not taught? You go back and tell your teacher, your children's teacher, son, daughter's teacher, ಪೂರ್ಣ ಪ್ರಮತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅಷ್ಟು ಬೇಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ತುಂಬ ಬೇರೆ ಸ್ಕೂಲಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Parents, especially up to 2nd, 3rd, 4th standard, they will look at what is the timetable. In month of June, 2 lessons were supposed to be done. Only 1.5 is done. So a lot of parent interaction will be in this form. So even parents, centrality is textbook. So our full education system is based on what type of textbooks you write. 2-3 weeks back you would have heard newspaper, there was something, some content is dropped, some content is added. Some articles came, right, in social science. What it means is our system is, one is textbook central, second is information based. So a lot of focus is on the information, on the content. I'm sure all of you would have discussed about how education should be in Purna Pramati. That's why you have come here. Before admission, there are some orientation programs, right? And you all believe, okay, this type of education is good for your children. Now you come here. While we think what you do here, what happens in Purna Pramati, a lot of manthan happens on how education should be. Similarly, at national level, there was lot of discussion, manthan, many scholars came together. There was a committee formed called the National Steering Committee, and there was a National Drafting Committee for NEP under Dr. Kasturi Rangan. You might have heard his name, Dr. Kasturi Rangan, Chairman of ISRO, also Chairman of Knowledge Commission. So he was Chairman of Drafting Committee for National Education Policy. Policy was done, released, and I'm sure you will read now. So it's the draft policy is 483 pages, but the actual policy which was there is 60 plus pages, small. So you must read it. Then that same, under Dr. Kasturi Rangan, one more committee was formed to implement the policy. Now policy says lot of things. Policy talks about how education structure should be, how teacher education should be, how supporting system should be, ecosystem should be, how higher education should be. All of these are spoken in policy. Policy is like giving direction. Google Map gives the direction, but actually we have to drive there. Unless we sit in the car, go, just by looking at Google Map, we can't go there. So policy gave the map. Now it has to be implemented. So next step was writing framework, curriculum framework. So curriculum framework committee started work a year back, and the first curriculum document was released on October 20th last year for foundation stage, and now the pre-draft for school education, national education policy is available for public comments. So you can also give comments if you feel something better can be there or something is not right. Okay. So this is the background about the policy. Now this today's session, I tried to put few pictures. Otherwise, it's very difficult just to, to one sense you have to take all the information. So you can see here and you can also listen to me. And most important is you should think about the education of your children. What is happening? What should happen? What should not happen? This is very broadly, like there is a policy. Then there is a draft NCF, then comes the syllabus and textbooks, which the work will start now. Foundation stage it is done. Then comes the teacher building, capacity building, teacher preparedness, those type of activities, and finally it comes to the classroom. So it's a few years program. Now this is one of the very broad level change what policy is bringing. So all of us can very well relate to this. Today our system is 10 plus 2. Class 1 to 10, PU college 11th and 12th. NEP says that we will change the structure to 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. All of you heard about this mathematics, 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. Total is how much? No, this is just a wake-up test. 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4? Huh? 15 now. Sure? All of you agree 15? So it is 15 years of education, school education. After that, graduation, post-graduation, doctorate, first postdoc and second postdoc. That's all the education is. Right? Yes or no? A postdoc not required. PhD also not required? Huh?
Depends on the
No,
child.
what do you think? Child we will go later. Do you think PhD is required?
Yes,
Postdoc?
everything is.
No, for every child?
No, no.
Hmm.
It varies from child to child.
Only up to 12th standard is it okay? No graduation required?
Minimum graduation.
Graduation, minimum graduation is required. Post graduation, okay. Minimum graduation. So these are some things I want you to think. So when we talk certain things, there is flexibility in the system. So if we just take it as information versus we really start understanding what it means. So this was the intention to ask question, is doctorate required, not required? Why vocational education is required? What are different paths in education? What is multiple exit, multiple entry? So these are various provisions given in the National Education Policy, which will be implemented by NCF. Okay, so you have to keep thinking. So don't only listen and see. So I told you, I'll ask more questions. So like these questions will come. So you also have a challenge that you can also ask questions. Whenever you have questions, you ask. Have you seen this part, 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 earlier? You know what it means? Broadly, roughly. So first 5 years is called foundation stage. It is the foundation of life. All of you know that whatever brain development happens up to age 6 or age 8, most of the, we call it hardwiring or neuron signages or pathways are created in the early childhood. So that education is foundational education. Based on that we can develop further, but only fine tune. But those aspects cannot be changed later. That's why we say changing Swabhava is very difficult. Once somebody is short-tempered, stays short-tempered, right? Throughout life. Very difficult to change. Unless we have very beautiful mechanisms in our adhyatma, so that leaving that aside. In a normal way, very difficult, right? So these early years are actually forming the personality of the human being or the child. When a child grows up, that is formed in the early years. So it is very important that education is foundational education. Earlier, in 10 plus 2, there was primary. Primary was class 1 to 4, 1 to 5, based on state it was there. And then was middle school and high school. And then secondary or higher secondary, 11th grade. Now, foundation stage includes class 1 and 2. So we have it is called preschool or pre-primary. Pre-primary is pre-KG, LKG, UKG, class 1 and 2. So it was called preschool. So that also is a change which NCF talks about or NEP also talks about. It is not a preschool. Preschool means preparing for the school. When the school has defined, at the age of 6, you should know 1 to 100, you should know ABCD, you should know XYZ. And then all of that has to be taught in the LKG, UKG. So it is a downward extension of school. That's why it was called preschool. What NEP and NCF says, it is a foundational stage. And what is required in the foundation is done. After that, class 2, class 3 is an upward extension of what is already built. It is not downward extension of first you define class 1 and then do whatever you need. You see the difference in these two? So this is one very important change, and that's why many places this you will not see word preschool there. So you will see there was preschool, there was pre-primary also. Many people say pre-primary. So what is required for primary, you have to do that. You don't have to do what is foundational for the life. You see the difference, right? It is not just primary. That's why our the so-called preschool was only focused on 1, 2, 3 and ABC. It was not focused on real foundation of life. So this is one big change in the policy, that first 5. Then comes 3 plus 3. So 3 years of preparatory. So preparatory word, ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೆ ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷ್ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ? ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ ಈ ಥರದ ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷ್ ಕನ್ನಡ ಬೇಕಾ? ಬರೀ ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷ್ ಸಾಕು. ಓಕೆ, ಯು ನಾಟ್ ಸ್ಲೀಪ್. ಇಲ್ಲ ಗ್ಯಾರಂಟಿ ಬೇಕು ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಸರಿ. So this second phase is called preparatory. Preparatory andre you are preparing for formal education. So what it means is foundation education is foundation, and the foundation education NCF says that foundation stage is only play based, and we have a misnomer. Misnomer means what we do is if children are playing, that means they are not studying. All of us do that. No? You will say, oh, my son always plays, he never studies. So play is never a study. And we have to call children from play and sit, make them sit for study. True? But the NCF is saying foundation stage is only play. There is no formal study. And this is seriously explained also, what it means. So there are two aspects. I know your children are in 6th, 7th, 8th. But it is important for you to understand these phases, how your child has come up to 6th. So very briefly I am talking about other phases. So in foundation phase, children want to play. Actually all ages children want to play, including our age, right? If we have some game here, everybody will be more interested than a lecture type of talk. Agree? So game is very natural for us. Through games we learn, and game is not about winning, losing, points, money and all that. Today we have some wrong things or some extra things attached to game, but game is so natural for us. So we are very natural while we are playing. The children have to be sahaj in that year, and while playing they learn lot of things. That is the concept. Preparatory stage is when they prepare to get into formal education. Formal education starts from 6th standard. So now your children have started formal education from 6th standard. So if you are 6th, 7th, 8th, so they just started education. Do you agree with this? Yes or no? I don't know. Think about it. NCF is saying, NEP is saying, your formal education, which actually starts from after preparatory. That's why the names are given like this. So we have these 3 types of 3 things. One is called growth, one is development, and one is education. Are these 3 things same or different? And so what is education? What is development? What is growth? Your children are little grown up, so you should also start thinking about these type of things. Not just about marks in mathematics or social science or English. Those anyways are important, but is only that sufficient? What is development? What is education? So these things is a concept of education. So these things you need to seriously think about. So from middle stage, NCF says that the formal education starts, and NCF has at foundational stage it is only domain specific, like there are only domains and play. Then there are no books also up to UKG like first standard. First standard there are 2 books which are again integrated books, workbook type of books. Class 3 onwards there are 2 subjects and 1 interdisciplinary subject, so 2 languages and 1 maths. And then one subject called world around us. So world around us is how we see things around. And the way we see things around, there is physics, there is botany, there is zoology, there is chemistry, there is social science, there is moral science. Everything is there, right? The world around us, like the physical world, natural world, social, cultural. There are so many things in the environment. So child should see these things in an integrated way. Child should see this in a samagra aspect. So that whole aspect should come. We should not see things in silos. So this is what NCF talks about. Children develop this interdisciplinary aspect in preparatory stage, and that continues in the middle stage. So middle stage, there are different subjects. I will come to that. So middle stage, actually education starts in a subject-wise way, where integrated plus depth is also required in specific subjects. You should be able to look at things together, and also you should be able to look at things in specific. So both are required, depth and width. And then the last one here, the secondary stage, is 4 years. So which class to which class? 8th, 9th, 10th, right? No. 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. Okay, all are awake. 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. So this is broken into 2 steps. 9th and 10th, 11th and 12th. So 9th and 12th, so it is secondary stage, 9th, 10th. That has, it has 8 curricular areas, but all are essential. So 9th and 10th is about width. Every child should know about 8 topics. That's what it means. Essential, you understand essential. No? Essential means it is required for all the children to know about these 8 areas. That's what NCF says. 11th, 12th is choice-based subjects. So children will choose. Now they go to a specialization. So children out of 8 areas, they will choose 3 areas, whichever they want. Not like science, arts, commerce. 3 streams are there today. If you go to arts, you cannot learn chemistry. If you go to commerce, you cannot learn music. Today it is like this, right? You go there, only those things you learn. Now in the NCF, there are 8 areas, and you can learn about those 8 areas. I have one slide on which are those 8 areas and all. So this is only for you to know what is changing at a block level. Then this slide talks about, there is not one NCF, but there are 4 NCFs. So first was NEP. Draft NEP, how many pages? 480 plus. NEP, 60 plus. Then the NCF for foundation stage, that is age 3 to 8, is 350 plus pages. And now the NCF for school education is only 680 pages. Okay. So this is for class 3 to 12. Now why such big documents? It's a very natural question we should ask. Many people ask. Till now NCF used to be small document, philosophical, very abstract document of 60-80 pages. But now it is such a big document. The moment you say big, it means details. And the moment we think of details, it becomes prescriptive. Like lot of things are prescribed. You do this, you don't do this, this subject like this. The document talks a lot of details, but it is not prescriptive in a form that only this has to happen. It has suggestive things. So suggestive, like art education can happen like this. Physical education can happen like this. Vocational education can happen like this. Language education can happen like this. Approach to language learning is like this. So all these type of things are there. And the focus of NCF is teachers. Okay, teachers. Who are the teachers? All of us. So we discuss about it. It's not just people who are doing something in the classroom. Even at home, whatever we are doing, our children are learning. Whether we like it, not like it, want it, don't want it. Everything is learned by children, all the time. It's not just what we speak. It's more so what we do. Our home environment, what type of books we have, what type of discussions we have, how we behave with each other at home, everything is learned by children. What type of games we play, do we watch more TV or we play more games or we do more bhajan or we do whatever. All of that is implicitly or more internally absorbed by children. So all of us are teachers that way. So when we say teacher, it is more of the acharya aspect, right? So we are doing that at home. So this book, whatever NCF is saying, is useful for everybody. So it is not only for people who are with the job title of teacher. So it is for all. This second one I spoke about. There are two more. One is NCF for teacher education and one is NCF for adult education. Adult education is normally we restrict it to OIE and everybody don't, Saksharta Abhiyan was there. No? So those who are with thumb impression, they should be able to sign. So that was more on the literacy program. Here there is a lot of focus. It's the first time in our country that there is a national curriculum framework for adult education. And there are different types of literacies. Even most of us in this room are illiterate about some topics. Yeah, you are not going to believe me. You might also believe it. So most of us might be illiterate about, say, media aspect, or financial aspects, or digital aspects. So there are so many aspects of literacy. So all these different types of literacies are required, including parenting. And that's also one type of literacy, right? So we should know how to be a good father, good mother, and how to have that environment suitable for right development of the child. So a lot of these things will come in the adult education NCF. This slide has some numbers, but the important factor is, till now, before NEP was done, most of these type of documents were done by group of people, selected, nominated by NCRT or ministry or someone. They used to sit somewhere, do this document and give it to ministry, NCRT, and they used to publish it. NCF was the first document in the entire world which was done in a democratic way. So you would have heard about NEP, National Education Policy. Many lakhs of people have given comments, initially from panchayat level to state level, even national committees were formed. Similarly, for NCF also, there were consultations done with state governments. There were 15 themes, different types of themes, and for every theme there was a core team of experts in 34 states and in union territories, and a national focus group for all these 15 themes. More than 500 position papers were created. Then 1,500, 1,600 plus district level consultations were done with experts, educationists at district level. There were more than 10, I think now it is like 14 lakh general public. They have given answer to survey. 1.5 lakh educators have given inputs. Many surveys, even ministries came together, like Higher Education Ministry, Science Education Ministry, Tribal Education Ministry, WCD. So all ministries discussed about what they want from education of the child. Even industry ministry. So they are, for them, who is the resource? Human being is going to do whatever industry. So what education is doing, it matters to all the ministries. So everybody has given their comments. So like this, consultation happened at all levels, taking into account all these consultations and inputs, that whatever big document, pre-draft is available. So this draft has this structure. So it has part A, which gives the overall approach to education. Then there is part B, which has subject specific, like language learning, maths learning, science learning, social science, vocational, interdisciplinary, art learning, physical education. So like this, for each area, there are specific details. Then there is focus on, if you see the part C in the center, cross-cutting themes. So there are things like environmental science or environment education, values, Indian knowledge system, guidance and counseling, and also technology. So these are cross-cutting across subjects. So they are not really very specific subjects. So these cross-cutting themes are discussed in details. Then there is part D, which talks about the school culture, environment in the school, different processes in the school. Sometimes some small process creates big problem in the school and it impacts education of children. So everything is mentioned, discussed in these chapters. And then the last part is ecosystem. Ecosystem is, if not, school doesn't work on its own. So there are different people who work with the school. So the first stakeholder is actually not right word, but partners we will say. The first partner is parents. Then there are community people. Then there are people from department. So like this there are many partners who are involved in education of our children. So if education department is creating a lot of problems, it impacts on the education of our children. If parents are not properly engaging with the school, it impacts the education of the child. You agree? Unless we are in unison, like what is happening in school, what is happening at home, if it is not same, if we cannot align with two different things, we expect small child to take care of different situations. Very difficult. And that's where a lot of personality challenges are created in children. So parent as a partner is very important and policy talks a lot about it. Similarly, experts in the community. Many times, many schools don't involve the experts in the community to be associated with the school. They are doing their business as if there is no relationship or no responsibility. Both are required. Including, like some schools have started now, they call traffic police, they call fire brigade, they call some people and they educate them. So if you have good citizens, police job will be less, right? So it is their responsibility to come and talk. So like this, for every expert in the society should engage with the school. So these are major elements. Now I'm just giving a lot of information, right? So I will stop for some questions. Whatever you saw till now, the 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 and the structure of NCF. You have any questions? You want to change the structure? 15 ಸರಿ ಇಲ್ಲ, 16 ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಥವಾ 11 ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. Any question? No questions? Whatever child is doing is okay so far? The education what we heard so far is okay? But this is not only about your children, NCF is for all our children. You know how many children are studying in school? Total number of children enrolled in school in our country. 16 lakh schools, one hint. Huh? 2 crores. 2 crores? Okay. 2 crores, one number is. Huh? 10 crores. One school, how many children will be there on average? 800 is a big number. Government schools will not have so many. Normal schools are generally like that, 800, 600, 800, 1000, 1200. Private schools are like that, around 800,000. Government schools are less number. So you can take some guess. You don't have to be right. There are no marks for this. So whatever answer you feel you can give. How many total number of students studying in our schools? Huh? 5 crores. Okay. 12 crores. Okay. Anyone wants to try? 16 lakh schools. You want to make it 15 lakh now? Calculation easy. Yeah, even if it takes 100 students in one school and 15 lakh schools, how many? It's 15 crores, right? 100 lakh is 1 crore. 15 lakh, 100 students, 15 crores. Okay, na? If you have 200 children in each school, ಎಷ್ಟು ಆಯಿತು? 30 crore. 300 students in each school, ಎಷ್ಟು ಆಯಿತು? So how much we want average per school? 300 ತಗೋಣ. So 45 crore, big number. 45 ಸರಿ ಇಲ್ಲ? Not right? You want to Google will be there. Okay, so if you have no other questions, this was general, just like that question for us to get the scale of what we are talking. So whether it is 45 crores or 40 crores or 50 crores, it doesn't matter. But it's large, very large number of students are studying in our schools. And whatever we are doing is going to impact the students at such a large level. We'll go to overall some key features of this NCF. Here I have put few things. You heard about Jnana Shakti, Kriya Shakti, and Ichha Shakti, right? So the three aspects are, loosely if you are translating in English, like capacities or